we've gone to a whole new level right here. This is Bridging Civil Tension on 21.6 Net, brought to you through the support of our good friends over at goldshieldtoday.com. Check them out. If you need heating, cooling, electric, smart home, plumbing, anything to do with your house, they've got you covered. That's why they are Gold Shield, the best in the business. Check them out at www.goldshieldtoday.com. Give them a call, 847-865-HVAC.
They saved me this summer. It was hot.
Oh,
they came
good.
Up same day.
Bang.
Took care of
right
things.
now.
Appreciate you guys.
So good. So good. And of course, Bridging Civil Tension is the show that's all about, you guessed it, all about bridging that civil tension. We feel that it's better to, create a relationship, talk about things, and either love each other and go the same way, or say, you know what, I appreciate your view, I'm going back my way, you go your way. But don't blow up the bridge. That's not what it's about. He's Phil Wallace. He is entrepreneur, author, best-selling author, by the way. He's got clothing lines. He does mentoring. He's a coach. And you name it, just all around good guy. Also representing the African-American population on the show.
And I'm friends with Ken Jones. That's the best title that one can have.
Yeah. Which is, Jen, good morning. Thanks for popping on this morning. A lot of stuff that we wanted to talk about. Alex will probably jump on. I don't know if he's up yet. He's out on the West Coast, but sent us some great information on Big Brother, the television show.
I don't think it means large African American.
Right.
Big brother, my brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love the title, Big Brother.
Yeah. It is not a Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson movie. It's not. And then Mercedes Benz, right?
Oh yeah.
Which was good. And I don't know which one you want to start with. Sal, how are you, brother? Of course, Sal SG3, you know him as on the Reject Rundown Sunday nights here at 9, and they'll be on this Sunday, even though it's a holiday weekend. These guys don't take any time off. They are amazing. Dedication, great show. Love those guys. What do you want to start with?
That way, Alex can hop in when we do it.
So Mercedes Benz. Right. So as I was playing around. As I was playing around this week with some things, this is what I came across. Let's see if I get it.
There's no place in Black America you can go and find the 4 essential institutions needed for a community: bank, school, supermarket, hospital. And you know why that's ironic? Last year, Black America in 2016, we spent $2 billion on Air Jordans, $4 billion on liquor and alcohol, $600 million on fast food, and we bought twice the amount of Mercedes Benzes as white America, although white America has twice the wealth of Black people. So the question becomes, what is it about the Mercedes Benz that makes it so attractive to African Americans even when they can barely afford it? And it's because it's a status symbol. And one thing we know about oppressed people, when you can't enjoy true freedom, you surround yourself with the symbols of that freedom. And that's why the Louis bag is so important. That's why our children will kill for Air Jordans. It's not the sneaker, it's what it represents. And if I believe I'm worthless, that means I can only add value to myself by what I put on my body as opposed to what I put in it.
Huge, right? Huge. So I saw that, and I sent it immediately to you, and I said, "Give me your thoughts on that." What are your thoughts?
Nailed it.
Okay.
Nailed it. I like he highlights the buying power of the Black community. Right? Yeah. And how it could be directed in other directions. However, it's directed towards, I guess, I'm not sure if he's trying to say like in towards directions that don't necessarily support us, by saying that we don't have certain essential facilities as far as, like you said, banks, schools, was it supermarkets, and then what was the last one? Grocery stores, right. And I guess I feel if you've been in a position where you've been subconsciously told that you are the bottom of the totem pole. Okay, well, how do I make myself feel like I belong higher up the totem pole? Okay, well, if I dress like them, if I have the same type of car as them, if I have the shoes that show that I'm important, then maybe I can have importance too. I actually watched this happen. I was meeting with a friend of mine in Dallas, and he doesn't come from a wealthy family by any means, but he's been grown into the finance department, and he had the 4-door Porsche. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Right. He had that.
Or something like that.
And he said, I love the fact that I went over to the dude, and it was like an older white man, and he said, nice car. And the guy tried to kind of yeah, I worked real hard, blah, blah, blah. And Alvin goes, no, I have the one beside it. And he's like, it felt good to be able to that I'm here too.
Yeah.
So I've seen this.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And to me, when I watch this, I go back to, I won't speak for all white people, but I'll speak for white people.
Nice.
Just not all of them.
Not all of them.
And I go, don't tell me you struggle when I see you in that Mercedes Benz. Don't tell me you struggle when I see you got 6 pair of Jordans. Don't tell me you struggle.
Right.
That's what we're saying. It's not that bad because
Auntie.
Don't tell me that, Phil. Look, you got 16 baseball caps. You got 10 pair of Air Jordans, and you're driving a Mercedes Benz. Hey, you have this. Look, I drive a Ford Escort. I've got on my Adidas that I got at the outlet mall.
Right.
And I do own a house. And yes, I do have a grocery store, bank, school, and hospital in my immediate area.
Right.
But don't tell me you're struggling. Right?
Right.
And as a white guy, I play the part of the Caucasian on the show. As a white guy, I didn't ever look at that as saying I want to be equal, right?
Okay, so I have my Mercedes from a salesman position who hustles, who comes in early, leaves late, and even though I've been overlooked for promotion, I'm still busting my butt because I want to have that Mercedes because I see that you have that Mercedes.
Correct.
And I'm doing so, stretching myself financially from that level financial in that position of the corporate, what I get paid, versus you as a person who makes 2-3 times my salary, and you have that Mercedes more comfortably. Yeah. I just want to fit in. Whereas I have this, and I'm also financially well outside of this.
Yeah, and that's not what that's not the train of thought that I go through.
Right, and institutionally, if you're taught, the Dave Ramsey approach, right? Get this cash car, pay the cash car off. Now when the cash car is off, you have the cash car, that amount for the medium-sized car, Altima, whatever. That helped for a lower affordable payment. Now this will be your Mercedes. Yeah. And that was your path because you were taught that at that institution that isn't available where I live at. Yeah. Right? Where I was like, look, bro, I'm just going to save up, put it in the shoebox since there's no banks over here. And then I'm going to put some cash down, but I'm paying this much at this interest rate for my Mercedes. And you're actually paying this at that interest rate for your Mercedes. Yeah. Because of what you were taught in your game plan versus.
Yeah. And so this idea is to say then what has to happen is we have to invest back in, right? So in those communities is say maybe let's stop buying Mercedes and Jordans, but let's put a school in there. How about a grocery store?
Right.
How about a bank? How about a hospital? And start reinvesting into that area, not gentrifying it, but just reinvesting into it, right?
Right. And I think that I like that you said without gentrifying it. That part's important because what he's also highlighting is who owns Louis Vuitton? Me or you? Who owns Fendi? Me or you? Gucci? Me or you? Yeah. However, if you really look at the Fendi logo, that's an African logo. That's an African tribal design that you can find from hundreds of years ago. That was, that's ugly, and then all of a sudden, when Fendi puts their name on it, now it's worth X amount of money, right? And we've seen that time and time again. But now, if they put that thing that we don't own, we've talked about this when we talked about those towns that were flooded in the South, right? If it's ours and we shop here, the money stays here. If it's yours and we shop here, the money leaves us. well, since it left us, you're not going to put a bank here. You're not going to put a school here. So, unfortunately, I'm not at all pushing for segregation, but it just seems that financially, it doesn't seem like when you're not going to shop here, I'm only shopping with you.
Yeah.
So we'll never be able to have our finances circulate like when it happened in those towns. And we said, if you look at those towns that were flooded and looted and pillaged and stuff like that happened in the South, they were well, but it was Black owned.
Yeah. I got a friend. He's like, he showed me this place in South Carolina, North Carolina, I don't know, one of the Carolinas, at Lake Norman or something like that.
North Carolina.
He says, hey, we're this is where we're going on vacation. I go, oh, great. You know that there's a city under there. And he's like, what? I go, yeah. I said, that's how they got rid of all the Black people. They didn't drown them. They just forced them out, and then they flooded their city. So you're going to be boating over a town, just so you know.
Sleep well.
So that I
terrible.
So that I leave. He comes back later and goes, you're right. I go, yeah. I hate to ruin it for you. But there you go. Yeah. So
it is
I agree with that, and as we try to be very diverse,
right.
That's where the quote unquote gentrification comes in, and we want everybody. But what happens is,
you get moved
the Etch a Sketch gets shook a little.
So, but here I was having this conversation with my buddy Ben on the way in here, and we're having the bait and switch as far as the Lake Norman example, right? We moved all the Black people out. We flooded their town to cover our tracks.
Well, we didn't do it politely. I mean, we didn't come in and say, hey, there's going to be a flood in a couple of days, so you want to get out? Let's be honest.
No, it was more the Noah approach. The rain has started.
That's right.
Get on the boat or leave.
That's right.
So we moved them out. We built our stuffs up. Now we have this thing in circulation. Okay, you guys don't have we'll give you some supplies, not all.
Yeah.
Missing the big four, right? The wealth stays over here with us. Now, what we've seen a lot of times is, well, this town, I think for Charlotte, I think it's East Charlotte, let's say the Black community, right? Says, well, we're going to do our own Black thing, right? Black on this, Black on that, Black. And then what we've seen is, well, why does it have to be Black owned? If white people did this, you guys would be irate. Well, why does it BET? Well, why do you guys get your... How did we get here?
Right.
We got here because you took what we had, you moved us out, you had this and you kept it over here. So rather than to ask for you to build a bank that you're not trying to build with us, or a library or a hospital, we had, let's just say, I'll just use Jay-Z because he's a philanthropist. Build this.
And thanks for listening, Jay-Z.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Sean. When we do this, then it's the complaint that it's Black owned. And if white people, there's no if.
There's no if.
There's no if.
There's no if.
If white people did that, that would be horrible.
Yeah. So my question is, and this kind of bleeds into when Alex comes on. We'll talk a little bit about the show Big Brother.
Yeah.
What's the statute of limitations?
As far as
okay, so here's what I mean, and this is really maybe not for you. This may be more for the white folk that are listening.
The whites.
What's the statute of limitations? So how many years? Hey, Alex. Good morning. How many years does it take to be able to say and be okay with it's Black owned? Okay, so we never had to say it's white owned because it has been.
Right, we knew who owned it.
So it was a silent saying, if I can say that, right? So now when African Americans come out and say, hey, this is all African American owned, and the whites go, that's racist.
Right.
What is the statute of limitations, white folks? When is it? How long do they have to be in business and 100% Black owned or minority owned,
right,
or woman owned or gay, whatever,
right,
gay, lesbian owned, whatever, that you're like, oh, okay, it's okay you say that.
I mean, but that's like they're trying to skip past the Constitution part that it didn't allow us to have ownership.
Yeah,
I couldn't own property. I wasn't even allowed to read.
Right.
So the only person who could own stuff was you.
Yeah.
Hashtag some of our great inventors of the world. Anyway.
And Alex says, we don't have a problem with female owned or gay lesbian owned, right? A lot of times we don't. But why all of a sudden when we throw the color black in there? Oh my God!
So, at what point do we get to what point do we arrive where we see the play and we've recognized the play because we've talked about the play so much, right? If the bank shows up and it's black owned, no. How is it that there wasn't a bank? Why hasn't there a bank there for this much time? And then, how did we arrive at this position? If we find out through
because you cash bad checks, never mind.
Even if I work here.
Never mind. Listen, I don't. Minnesota keeps falling farther and farther.
Did you see they did it again? The same Citibank, bro.
The same Citibank.
A guy was flipping homes and he went to.
Yeah.
Well, there's a hole and it's going to be a couple of days.
Oh,
I called. You told me to be available.
Oh man. Let's see here. Let me just do this because I'm old. There we go. But hey, as long as Walmart celebrates Juneteenth, you need to shut up and dribble, Phil.
Yeah, we were having that conversation yesterday.
Right. And that's, yeah. So to me, and again, I don't, I'm speaking for Kent Jones, not as the white population on this show. I give two shits who owns it. You want to say it's black owned? Good for you.
Right.
Go get it. Why not shout it from the rooftops? I'm okay with that. You want to say it's gay owned, disabled owned. If it's a decent product and y'all take care of me when I come in, I don't care.
Right.
If you have a restaurant and I don't get and I don't get food poisoning, I really don't care if it's a good experience for me. I don't understand why Americans get so hung up on it. Oh, well, but what we will say, now I am speaking for the white population, is that's reverse racism, isn't it? Yeah, if I were to say it's all white owned, you guys would say that's racist, right? What is reverse racism? First of all, it's not. That means there is none, right? So when can we as a nation just go, hey, you're a business owner, good for you, right? When can we get to that? Who cares? And when is it that we can go, well, let's build up these communities wherever they are, it doesn't matter, white, black, green, purple, blue, and let's make them thrive. That's the American dream, right? So when do we get to that spot? Anthony, good morning, Anthony. Of course, don't forget district pools were taken away from our communities as well. Oh, like swimming holes,
right? So if we take away the swimming pools, we're like, oh, black people can't swim. There were no swimming. Their swimming pools were removed from our communities.
See,
so there's no health bridge.
When they get a loan without having to jump through the super secret hoops that you have to up and down L1, L2, R2 to get
finishing movers.
And I'm here to tell you, now I will speak for banks. It doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
I'm speaking.
But we have that conversation on here, right?
We have guidelines and regulations that we have to.
That we've seen bank after bank, and then it was debated, and now we see Citibank is doing that. But
correct.
We're okay. We'll get denied. All right, so we'll have a black-owned bank where we don't get denied at your bank. And then it's like, oh, well, how racist. No, this is just where we can get approved.
Yeah, right. And
do you see the move Bank of America did, though?
Well, the other thing I think we have to stop doing is stop taking a look at percentages. So in the banking industry, we have to go under the Fair Credit and Fair Lending Act, and so I get reports on a monthly basis. Hey, you had 100% of your Hispanic 100% of your Hispanic loan applications turned down.
Right.
You had 26% of your lady-owned,
Business,
applications approved. And okay, and we will put those percentages out there and like, oh my gosh, if you're Hispanic, you can't go to that bank and get a loan.
Right.
No, we had 2 applications perhaps, and they didn't have a credit score, let's say, or who knows why they. But then we take a look at those percentages. So in the housing market here in McHenry County, 8% of all the houses, 8% of all the houses, less than 10% of all the houses were given to Black people. There are still some realtors, and this happens because I know people who get calls that if they're Indian, so South Asian, if they are Black, that realtors today still in this county will say, yep, can't show you that house. Yep, can't show you that house. And
shout out to Rosemary for doing it anyway.
And you go, and as a person who loves people, I go, I shake my head. I'm like, what? This is nuts to me, but it happens, and it's live, and these things, this is just, it's the way that it works.
Right.
But at the same time, I go, okay, there's only 8%. But then I look at the population here.
Right.
Now, I don't know if there were 20% more that got declined. I don't know. But what I do know is only 8% of the homes that were sold this year were sold to African Americans. And I go, well, out of all the houses that were there and the population out here in White Hood, maybe that's a good percentage.
I don't think we make up 8% of the population.
Right. So maybe that's a good percentage.
Numbers are skyrocketing over 8%.
Yeah, right. So
Man.
So that's what I say is if you just take a look at statistics and you don't understand, what out here in white suburbia, I'm thinking, well, that's not too bad.
Right.
Whoa. They're moving in.
Yes. Finally.
Right.
One is the loneliest number.
So, but on the same breath, I could go, but 30% were declined or went elsewhere because they wouldn't be shown a house. Now I've got an issue.
Right.
Because what? And that's amazing to me. Let's see here.
That's the one.
Yeah, this one right here, right? So Alex says, think of your local community. How diverse are small business owners in your local networking group, Chamber of Commerce, small business, all those classes, etc.? Almost non-existent.
Right.
Well, let's be honest here. Let's be real honest here. Is a lot of suburban people. Diversity is men and women.
Oh yeah, that's how.
So we're very diverse. Yet when you come in to this meeting, it looks like the snow-capped mountains of white suburbia, all white hair.
I think it was 4. It was like me, Andrew, the dude that does health insurance, and there's a woman.
Yeah.
And we keep getting introduced to each other.
Miss
every
Brown,
meeting.
right? Yeah. And she's with. She's getting married. She's getting married in 2 weeks.
I got someone for you to meet, Phil. I think you guys will get along just great. Andrew, how'd you know? Just because you keep introducing us to the only other black people in the room.
That's the only other black fellow here.
Shout out to Andrew, man.
Alex says the air quotes white people say these programs, all these people are just ignorant that they don't know. But who's doing the teaching? You've had hundreds of years of not teaching. So someone's got to either teach them about the latter or build their own.
Okay.
Yeah. and a lot of times there's not that diversity. A lot of times because they haven't been welcome. Okay, and I'm not saying that people are just outright absolutely, holy cow, black guy in the room, everybody. Right. I mean, there's the silence is deafening. And then it's like,
right.
Hey, have you met Phil? Is it Phil? Philip? Yo, bro. Are you a Panda Bear Crip? What?
Can you please not go to shake my hand like that, please?
I always think of the
you have a Tommy Bahama shirt. You don't shake hands like that. They do. Efforts there, I guess.
Right. And I go out to all the Key and Peele. Those guys, they kill me. They slay me. They're funny. Anyway, so there's not a lot. So why do I join? Right? Phil is black. Yeah. We've asked him to curtail his.
Sorry to break the news, but I've been diagnosed with blackness. Take all the time you need.
That's right. And that's a show for today, folks. But of these, the inclusivity, you go back to the science experience where there's they put 6 chimpanzees in a room, and there's a metal pole, and the bananas are at the top, and they try to climb up this, and when they get up there, they get doused with ice cold water and fall off the thing. And then they do this for a while, and those 6 chimpanzees then don't go up there, don't go up there. And then they replace.
Like what, 3 or something like that?
Yeah, they replace these chimpanzees with like 3, and they're like, hey, I got to get that banana up there. The other 3 are like, no.
Start pulling them down. And
they start pulling them down. And then they get rid of the original 3 and bring in 3 more. So the 6 chimpanzees that are in this experiment don't have any idea why they can't go get those bananas, but they keep pulling them down.
Right.
And then they keep swapping them out, and they learn. I don't know why I can't have the bananas, but I can't have the bananas. So that's human nature as well.
Right.
I don't know why I shouldn't go there. Well, because of all the years of inexclusivity, we didn't want you here.
Right.
Oh, that was years ago. African Americans in Northern Illinois are still not being shown homes that they want to buy.
I struggle with this. So, I sit on a board with an organization.
Yeah.
And with a different organization, we learned in the first orientation that the city that we live by was a sundown town.
Yeah.
I mean, the African Americans had to leave before sundown.
Gotta get going.
So, what's interesting about that town is you'll see generations, grandparent, parent, child, and now they're having kids. They're just staying in that community. So if these people raised in sundown mentality haven't left, who raised kids who live in the sundown town who haven't left, where do you guys think there was the dilution of that mentality? It hasn't been washed away.
It has not been washed away. Oh, no. We're not racist, though. Oh. It never left, perhaps.
It didn't leave. It didn't go anywhere.
Right.
It's in the web.
And that's a very, very hard thing for white folk to understand. And yes, I am not a racist. I don't see color. We've heard all of these things. You have to see color. We've been through this on the show several times.
Review your notes.
Yeah. But it's hard for white people to understand, because my kids are out in the yard playing till 9. Well, your kids could too. This is the bananas. The bananas are no good. We are not going up that pole. Why? I don't know, but understand that if my children are out there, okay, whoa, all right,
it's not safe.
Here's another thing that I'll pose to our white listeners. You are at a school function, and you see some beautiful black kids there, and you think, especially out here in white suburbia, and then you see their parents walk up and give them a hug, and their parents are white. Do you change your perception of those kids really fast? From, there's some black kids here,
Right.
to, oh, it's so nice that they must have adopted those beautiful children. Beautiful children.
Please don't touch their hair, but
beautiful children. And I will be honest with you, because I watch people. It's what I love to do. I love to watch them. And they go, you see their demeanor change, and you go, oh, why are they beautiful now? You got such a good soul.
You have a pass.
Right?
You have a pass.
And I see it, and I go, I hope you're teaching them. I hope you're teaching them. Right. That's it. Alex says, and then when they build their own in spite, that's when people spurn it. Because how dare they? That's reverse racism. Nope. You are so ignorant to your feelings that you probably even know you were doing it. Right. That's what I mean. Right. That's what I like to see. But when they realized the table or ladder wasn't there for them because you were their error by omissions, now they become the bad guy.
It's maddening.
It is maddening. Yes. What did you say?
He just has a great tan.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah. That is good.
Alex says, hence the Big Brother example.
Right. So let's jump into walk us through the Big Brother example, Phil.
And Alex, any part, if I get this wrong, feel free to chime in. So from what my understanding is, on the show for 22 seasons, and it's kind of not as rough as Survivor, but kind of the same mentality as we vote one off the island. Yeah. Everyone gets in cahoots.
We'll do this. I think this is paste right here. Yeah. Hey, Alex, I'm gonna post that out there in the comments. If you paste that into your URL, you can come on, and we'd love to have you on and chat with us. Sweet. So if you throw that in there, come on in, and we'll put you on there. All right. So go ahead.
Sweet. For 22 seasons, white person is one.
So Big Brother is a reality show on CBS.
I think so.
I believe.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Survivors, right? So you get voted out of the house or whatever. I haven't seen any from the communication with Alex. This is what
grand prize $750,000.
$750,000. Holy cow!
There
all the way from Temecula. From the communication with Alex. This is what. Oh, you need to turn down that $750,000. There we go. You got us, brother.
Yeah, it's my first day.
Yeah, sure. You used to have a show here. All right, anyway, go ahead.
So you want to give the breakdown, Alex?
All right, so for 22 seasons, Big Brother was it's just like Survivor, just like all the different shows, reality competition. You vote someone off every week, and eventually there's a winner, right? And just statistically speaking, there has never really been a person of color win the show in 22 seasons. So the farthest they've gotten, I think, was like to the almost to the finals, but like usually they're the first ones kicked off. Kind of like
into the last 4 or 5 anyway was the best.
Yeah. But generally, they're one of the earlier people statistically to get kicked out, right?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like old people, right? When you're in Survivor, they kick off the old people first because what good are old people?
Right.
And so then came season 23. But before season 23 happened, there were people, one person in particular that I know personally. His name was Phil Shepard. He was on Survivor. I met him a few months ago. And he said he was part of CBS's move. They had a petition for years to make this happen, by the way, to make it a more diverse cast, because you're not giving people of color any type of shot They're like the one or two people that are on the show, right? It's not a fair advantage when people are overtly or ignorant, I would say, maybe,
Right.
to the
Sure.
fact that they're the statistics are proving they're getting out early,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So they made a rule that now it has to be like totally diverse, 50%, is some sort of diversity, right? And
Yeah.
so 23 happened. So it was the first season that it was diverse. And there was an alliance, which is typical in all the different reality shows, right? When you're trying to vote someone out, you're constantly putting together as the show your numbers, right? You want to always be on the right side of the numbers for voting to win, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's watch out for the old male alliance, watch out for the old woman alliance. That's kind of what people were talking about for decades, right? And so this season of season 23 or past season, right? They said it doesn't matter. It's a group of people of color came together and said it's about the cause. It's about showcasing that we belong and we want to work together, and we're just going to eliminate everyone else, and we're gonna work it out. And for the first season of season 23, a person of color won, and that was both really awesome to see, right? But then you had the other people like, well, that's racism. That's racist. That's something that how dare they do that? I mean, if we did an all white alliance, that would be like spurned.
Okay, so let's sit right there with that for a second. Let's unpack that.
If.
If. Right? There's a wonderful 2-letter word.
Let's try and imagine
Right.
a world of white alliances.
So is it? What's your thought? Is that racist that the black contestants on the show band together and played the game and won?
Is it racist?
Yes.
I don't believe so. If I'm sitting here and I'm evaluating, okay, I've tried to watch it just happen naturally.
Yeah.
For 22 seasons, it hasn't happened naturally. All right, the only way we're going to win this, you're playing a game and you're coaching. The only way we're going to win this game is if we, and then you got to come up with a game plan.
Right. I don't think I as a competitor, I'm very competitive even in Candyland with my kids. As a matter of fact, I changed all the rules and made it Battle Candyland. It's great.
So you got to go all the way back.
And you got to switch. Oh, it's wonderful. Anyway,
in your face, Lucy.
If you can, it's like if you can find a cheat code in Mario Kart, you're going to use it. The idea is to beat the game and win.
Right.
That's why you play a game.
I play Grand Theft Auto all the time, and I cheat code all that thing all day long.
See? People do it with The Sims. They got cheat codes to get more money, things like that. You do that to win the game. I'm okay with it. I'm like, good for you. You figured it out.
Right.
Bam. Done. Hallelujah. Alex, you and I talked a little bit yesterday evening, and one of the people I hated when he was young, but truly admired as he grew, is Kobe Bryant. His work ethic, the Mamba mentality. And in his book, Mamba Mentality, he talks about that each year he would read, study, and break down the referees' guidelines and rule books for the NBA. And he learned how they call games. And if a ball was on a certain part of the court, that team of 3 refs, they were looking in these spots. This is their area. And he says, I found out all the blind spots when balls. So if a ball was in a certain area, I got to a blind spot because I knew they weren't looking there. He goes, I got away with holding, grabbing, tripping, traveling, double dribble because they weren't looking there. He goes, I finessed their rules to give me an advantage.
Yeah.
And we love him for it.
He does another one, and then we'll get into the second part of what Alex says. But yeah, he started to play. But why is it when 22 seasons was going this way, it was called playing the game?
Yeah.
And this 23rd season, now it's a cheat code.
Right.
It's still playing the game the way that it was played for 22 seasons.
Agree.
It's just now this group is playing the same game.
Yeah. Jess says, "Hey, what's up, Brandon Micah?" And so with this show, so people who don't follow the show, and Alex is enlightened me on it, is there's a lot of social media following and stuff like that that the contestants don't see.
Right.
And so yeah, go ahead.
It's the only show that I see that is recorded 24/7. The difference between Survivor and Amazing Race and all these other different shows,
Naked and Afraid,
it's edited, right? But the TV show will edit, right, to do what they need to do to make salacious TV or to make people look good or whatever. But the truth of the matter is that there's millions of people who document what happens, screen grabs what happens, go on Twitter or other social media platforms and try and rally the troops and gain pitchforks for one reason or another, right? I mean, it happens, but the disadvantage of this show versus other shows is that there's no hiding. And the problem is contestants will never see any of the comments, any of the anything until hopefully 91 days later they win the show and they're either, wow, I really screwed up this. I said something wrong on day 22 and it created a firestorm, or people love me or people hate me or whatever it is based off of what the TV edit is, but more importantly, what I say or see or do that's on camera 24/7.
So after season 23, you were talking about how season 24, there was the gentleman who was like, okay, we're going to, so go into that a little bit, please.
Okay, so season 24 happened. It's going on right now, right? And there was a gentleman who, and again, it's playing the game. He's always looking at numbers. He's a young kid. I mean, I know Phil and I might have a little difference of opinion that he's a young kid from like Utah. He has he's not fortunate enough to have the life experiences and or the environment that I've been blessed with or other people have been blessed with to kind of get there, right? And so he's looking at the numbers and he's like, all right, well, we always have to look at the male versus female alliance. Is this something that we now have to look at? Is there a diversity group that is banding together? And do we need to kind of combat that for the numbers to win the game? Because he's still a competitor, right? And so he brings that up to his white counterparts in the TV show, and they go, "Oh no, we're not touching that one. we're not build it."
Was it circle the white wagons? What was it? Something like this?
Yes. Do we need to build the white T-shirt and the white hood alliance? I don't know what it is, but do we need to have a white alliance to combat the possible person of diversity alliance?
Right.
And so it was interesting to see people's reaction to that.
What was their reaction to it?
So you had people that, I mean, obviously you had people on there that were not happy when, online, because there's two different reactions, right? There's online reaction and then there's in the game reaction. Yeah. And the people that he brought it up to their credit, like, no, we're not playing that game. That's not going to be something that we do. We're if that happens, it just happens, right? We're not going to be the white alliance going against the black alliance or person or diversity alliance. Mm-hmm. So to that credit, I mean, at least people have evolved to that stage where they don't have to worry about that as a number or consider that an option, right? But here's the grind. Is that conversation happened weeks ago. So now these people who were told this idea of, hey, do we need to watch out for that? They were in power, right? For so they didn't have to worry about numbers. They had the numbers, all that type of stuff. Well, now the numbers got switched, and they were on the low end of the totem pole, and they conveniently used an opportunity to have this conversation come out weeks later. Yeah. You flip the script. So they didn't have to worry about being eliminated in the game because let's get out the racist kid.
Yeah, because Jimmy recommended a white power movement.
Deshaun, before you vote me out, I just want you to know, weeks ago, this Alex guy Want to circle the white
Random
wagon?
Random white guy. I'm not allowed to.
Random white.
Use his name.
Hey, but because you're my buddy,
That's it. You know what
I
I'm
said
saying?
no.
You know what I'm saying?
Random white guy. So
We
just
know.
so you know,
We know, right?
make your votes.
So we go get you a Colt 45.
You get a hoop later on.
Yeah, you know. All right. So is that racist?
Is what racist?
The white group coming together.
No, I mean I understand his perspective as far as like, okay, we have the Corman Alliance. Okay, cool. I don't understand. Like I just quite like I see the timeline.
Yeah.
So he's almost. I feel like the intention and the approach is almost like, well, they did it first.
Yeah.
So now we have to.
Yeah.
No. This only happened because we've been doing this for years. Why don't we just play the game how we're supposed to play the game versus complaining about the game?
Yeah.
Now that they've adapted.
Yeah.
That's just my only thing where I get. It's difficult to go to feel sympathy because he's only seeing one half of it. He's
Right.
doing the keyhole approach versus the whole timeline.
Right. So I don't think it's racist either. Here's as I thought about this, here's the hard part. A white group in power for centuries
Right.
has been a negative connotation in this, right? So and then the word supremacy comes in.
Yeah.
And so even though I don't think it's a racist move and it's a gamesmanship move, that connotation with the other contestants perhaps were like, I don't want to wear that.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear that. And then I would tip my hat to them and say, kudos for you for playing that card. That's gamesmanship.
Right.
I'll roll you right under the bus. That's $750,000. And then I'll back it. Hey, Jimmy over here, he's a white supremacist.
Right.
He wanted to do this.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
So, and I was kind of talked about this yesterday. The preface was, well, he with his background, he's not a lot of diversity.
Uh-huh.
So that's probably why he was more prone to.
Uh-huh.
We're very sympathetic when the background and the upbringing and the surrounding,
Uh-huh.
even though it led to racist remarks
For the white guy.
for the white guy.
The white guy.
But if it's Deshaun
Yeah.
and his upbringing and what he wasn't taught and this, well, he's just a thug and that's all it is.
Yeah.
We're not. It's just racism. That's all it is. We're very sympathetic.
Yeah.
And we also will do. Well, you see how fast they turn on each other
Right.
over here in the ghetto.
Yeah.
Or over toilet paper.
Yeah.
They're fighting grandmas.
Right.
But this is understandable. This just doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah, and that's why, as we kind of said earlier, that's that education piece. That's the chimpanzees.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know why I can't go down to that part of Chicago.
Right.
Oh,
Let me tell you, I have a friend.
that.
The truth of the matter is that and this is my opinion, and Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, as the only black guy in the room here, is that I think I said this in a later comment. I don't think overt racism is prevalent as much anymore. It's the subconscious of decades and generations of subconscious programming and years of other racism, right? That we don't know as an audience I've never been oppressed. I'm a white, redheaded, which by the way, I need a fucking haircut. And I'm a white-headed male who's not handicapped, who's not gay, and like I've never had anything.
We are ginger. I mean,
We are a rare breed.
That's right.
But the idea is, I've never had that experience in my life. And
Right.
so I can't possibly know what it's like to ever feel oppressed. And so for me, like it has to be a learning experience that I have to actively seek out, in my opinion, what it is like to be on the other side.
Right.
And so,
I think the TV show kind of revealed it, right?
yeah.
I think the overt racism, like you're saying, like, if I go downstairs, the people downstairs aren't just going to say the N-word.
Right.
They may have they might be kind of reserved seeing me here, but that would be frowned upon. And they don't want to wear that hat, right? Just like the white wagons hat. Well, we're not going to wear that hat. They'll have those feelings. Now, we've seen with MF N-word and blah, 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 is if the knee is scraped, what bleeds out is very aggressive racism. If there's any inconvenience, if there's any hostility, yesterday at work, if you feel that I forgot my place on the totem pole, now it's their full throttle. Now it's these situations where we're seeing people aggressively yelling in stores and you forgot, well, when the police come, you'll see. Well, if you would have asked that guy 5 minutes ago if he's racist, no. Now that he's been inconvenienced by a person of color, well, we'll call the police and we'll see which one of us is going to jail. Well, that's a racist statement. I thought you weren't racist, but you had a little bit of hostility and look what's bleeding out. So that's where I feel like they're not going to get the high fives for the N-word like they used to.
Right.
They'll laugh at the golf course like we've talked about.
Yeah.
They'll let their friends say these things because the same sentiment might be there, but I can't say it because then people will know it and they might share it on Facebook and then I might get fired. I'll just feel this way behind the scenes. But watch that person inconvenienced, not even wronged, not even intentionally. I punched Kent. I inconvenienced him.
Yeah.
He felt challenged. He felt whatever. They're the one person Mary's talking about. They offered, hey, would you like to donate to BLM? A yes or no question. He wanted a 20-minute tangent.
Right.
Yelling at employees. The
yeah.
audacity that you think that I would support these, fill in the blank.
Right.
So that's where I can't, like, it's just a different form of.
Yeah.
But I struggle with that because I don't know if it's because they think that racism is wrong or they don't want to be looked at wrong for being racist.
Well, I mean, you can even the small jokes of like, well, someone is a horrible driver and you drive past them and it's, oh, it's an Asian driver. And it's like, oh, that's a racist comment, right? And it's a joke that we've been conditioned as, oh, it's just a joke. It's a joke seated in racism.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not racist. I own a colored TV.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, thank you.
Right. I think
but it is, but for years and years and years and years and years, especially here in the United States, it was never addressed as racism.
Right.
It was addressed as, oh, that's funny, man.
Well, but if you ask, and we had this conversation before, when you ask the people, let's say if I asked my class of 2004 Crystal Lake South, well, Phil, we would say this stuff to you all the time. Yeah, but it's a 500-to-1 ratio. Yeah. What was I going to say?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be upset and just not talk to white people, that's a lonely school. It's me and 7 individuals. So they got away with thinking that stuff was cool because they outnumbered who the joke was at.
Yeah.
One of the comments that didn't air on the TV show, at least I don't think it did, was when the lady's name was Taylor. She was Miss Michigan of whatever year it was. She said, as a black woman, I can't be afforded the opportunity to fuck up. Basically, I'm paraphrasing.
Right, yeah.
I can't be afforded the opportunity to have learning lessons.
Yeah.
Right.
You get that opportunity to have learning lessons. And that struck me as a human because it's like, because I've never had the opportunity to be oppressed, right? I have to constantly seek the ways of, okay, am I doing something wrong? And Kent knows me as a person that's like, I'm someone that I don't know if I offend somebody with what I say. Like, I try not to like hurt you, but like I just say what I say, right? And I love it when people be like, hey, Kent will come to me like, hey, you probably fuck that one up. You might want to circle back and do that type of stuff. Right? I'm afforded that luxury where others aren't.
Yeah.
Right?
And we talked about with the kid with the preface, right, versus this kid. And we had this at a prior place of employment. A coworker got, irate, said some things, whatever. And I was telling my manager, I go, the difference was this person can continue to be irate, rude, cuss, whatever. Even in the sit down, this person can be sarcastic, belittling, like dismissive, whatever. Even in a situation we're coming for resolution. And I said, the frustrating part is if I show that same demeanor, I'm the angry black guy.
Yeah.
I'm the problem. And my manager said, I know. So when you talk to HR, you can't be him.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't get that learning curve. I don't get, well, that's just his personality, and we gotta it's gotta get fixed.
Dan McFadden, thanks Dan for listening. He says, yeah, I think it depends on the situation. For example, try to be the black guy who runs the black student union at a college.
Depends on college.
What?
Depends on the college.
Well, right, but that's what he's saying.
Right.
It kind of depends on the situation. The silence is deafening to me, right. And that's why I think Americans got to start listening to. It's not that, hey, I run a black student union, or I run the LGBTQ student union. Good. White people has never had to say that because it was assumed.
Right. So
we didn't have to label it the white this or the white that. It just was.
Well, we did that for the House and government. It's the White House. Just so you know.
It is the white and so to me, it doesn't offend me because of what I've learned, especially through this show, that, hey,
right.
Maybe it did 2 years ago, but now I get it.
Right.
You have to say that now because it's never been.
It's never been.
And good for you.
I'm not trying to. This is not something that I'm trying to toot my own horn on, and I apologize if it comes across this way. But what I'm trying to do as my own personal journey is to understand the fact that I've lived a very privileged life to many people's compared to other people. Right. Being the white male, a non-handicapped, non-gay, straight person, like I've been afforded a lot of luxuries that a lot of other people have not had in life. And so I'm trying to go on my own personal journey to understand other people, sides of things, right? Where did they come from? How did they grow? All that. And it is spurned by the fact that I had a reflection of like, I need to grow. I need to grow as a person. And so, I think I talked to Phil, I talked to you about that, Kent. Like, when the pandemic started, I joined the Black Chamber of Commerce, right? And I am the only white guy there, right? And so like, but when I say that to people, like in the local, even here, even in a very diverse community in Southern California, it's pretty diverse. And I get, really? What? Why would you do that? It's the Black Chamber of Commerce, and you're not Black. I'm like, they segregated us out. I'm like, no, they didn't. All they did was say, listen, we go to the XYZ Chamber of Commerce in our local town, and we're one of 3 people, right? It's you and DeAndre and who was the other guy, right? And you guys should all meet, man. You guys got to talk. Like what you were saying. And but there's no voice, there's no accountability, there's no opportunity for them to grow. So we said, okay, we're just going to build our own ladder. And when they built their own ladder, now it's like, well, they're trying to kick us out. I'm like, no. All they said was, we want to have an opportunity for representation. We wanted to build our own table. And so for me, as a learning lesson, I wanted to go there to see what it's like. And the first, and my own journey, right? The first time I was there, it was, I'm the only one here. But it also started because I grew up in a town where there was only one Black person. I was always curious on, what does he feel like when he's the only one there?
That's different.
Listen,
so it's fascinating. And what I would say is, I had a better reaction of being the only white person in the Black Chamber of Commerce than I'm guessing 99% of the only Black person in the white communities, white schools, white Chamber of Commerce, everything, right? My journey was different than theirs because they get it.
That's it. All right. And thank you, Alex. Listen, our time is up. We got to run.
Right.
We're at the top of the hour. Come back at 11 for Living Low Sodium with Mary Shep. Until then, be good to each other. Have a great holiday weekend.
Thank you for joining us, Random White Guy. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Random
you.
White Guy, for hopping on. All right, for all of us here at 21.6 The Net, thanks for getting caught in the net. We'll see you in a little bit.